Hi folks, Meteorologist Ryan Hoke here with another edition of the Hokey video blog. We're going to be talking about the big winter storm that folks have been talking about for quite some time and the bitter cold to follow it. We don't have the web camera working this morning, so we'll just take you right to the maps. Show you the satellite view this morning. Very quiet across Kentucky and a few clouds to our north and to our west. A little bit of snow out there east of Des Moines, Iowa. Otherwise, quiet across really the eastern part of the nation. It's out to our west in Colorado, Wyoming, Utah, even into Nebraska that we're seeing this system beginning to gather itself. This is the upper level portion of it. And as it swings on southward as we go throughout the next 24 hours, we'll see an area of low pressure develop. That'll buzz on up toward Kentuckiana and buzz probably just south of the Louisville area as we go throughout your Sunday. We're under a winter storm warning here in Louisville and points northward as well. There's a winter storm watch in effect for areas to our south where things may reach winter storm criteria if snow totals get up to about 4 inches or so. That's possible given the amount of cold air forcing that's coming in. This is something that the National Weather Service hinted at this morning, and I think that's a pretty good forecast call by them to give the winter storm watch to areas to our south, because if this does indeed being an overachiever with the snow totals, they'll need to be upgraded to a warning. Of course, we're in a warning here in the metro area. We'll talk about those snow totals in just a second. Let's go through the latest NAM model. This is the 6Z, and I think we're getting to the point where we need to throw out the models and this becomes a nowcast event. When you get about 24 to 36 hours out from these snow events, you usually see a jog in all the models, and it's usually a northward jog. We've seen this one or two times already this season. And when you get to that point, it's time to stick with the forecast and go from there with the nowcast. Let's take you through the NAM, though, just to show you what it's saying. So we start out as a little bit of a rain-snow mix early on Sunday morning. It goes to all rain, but it keeps us rain until 4:30 in the afternoon. Then switches us over to snow by about 7. That's pretty late. I think the good call on this would be to switch us over sometime between 11 a.m. and 3 p.m., not as late as 7 p.m. like this is saying. If this does indeed happen, there's always a chance that we do see this at 7 o'clock when we do switch over. This would cut down on our snow totals significantly, and we'll have to be watching this. That's why this is a nowcast event. We're going to have to watch the radar, the satellite, the surface observations, and all that jazz to figure out what we're going to be getting over the next day or so. So that's the NAM model. Takes the snow out of here as we go into Sunday night. Here's what I'm thinking right now. This is relatively unchanged from yesterday. We start out as a rain-snow mix here in Louisville, maybe a bit of snow in southern Indiana. The area of low pressure moves into the area just south of the Louisville area. We go all rain here in Louisville. It's a rain-snow mix over portions of southern Indiana, and it may be even all snow for Lawrence, Jackson, and Jennings County for the duration of Sunday morning. Those are going to be the big winners for snow totals as we go throughout your Sunday. Then as we go throughout the afternoon, all the rain changes over to snow. We are all snow here across Kentuckiana on Sunday afternoon, and some heavy snow bands begin moving through. Some of these could be windy and gusty as well, so you might see some reduced visibilities from this if you're out driving. Be very careful out there. I would not plan to travel on Sunday afternoon and evening, if at all possible, based on the latest data that I'm receiving here for this storm. Snow accumulation, about 3 to 5 inches here in downtown Louisville and northward. If you live in central Louisville, you might get 3 or 4 inches of snow out of this. Otherwise, 1 to 3 inches south of the area. This may have to be bumped up based on the data that we see coming in for tomorrow, but right now this looks like a pretty good forecast. Kevin and I discussed this yesterday, and I think this is what we're going to go with as far as snow totals go for now. 4 to 8 inches as you go across portions of southern Indiana. So this is going to be a very impactful storm for most of us. All of us are going to see accumulating snow. That's a foregone conclusion. It's just how much is the issue right now based on how warm we get and the timing of that changeover tomorrow. So again, looks like about 3 to 4 inches for the Louisville area. Can't rule out a 5-inch amount here, but the heaviest amounts would be to our north in southern Indiana. We'll show you some of the models just to give you a taste of what they're saying this morning. The NAM has been fairly consistent with this trend on the overnight with the northward motion. It's been consistent with the snow totals, 3.4 inches here in Louisville, which I don't think is too out of the ordinary for what this storm is going to be putting out. 5.6 up there in Bedford, 5.4 in Seymour. That's reasonable, but I think it's a little low on that end. As we go throughout the GFS model, yeah, it's a little on the low side. 2 inches here in Louisville, about 4 in Seymour. I think it's lowballing it, and I think it's to the point where we don't need to even use the GFS anymore. And that's the same story with the Euro. I think we are too close to the event to be using these numbers because it's just too broad scale of a model to get down to some of the finite points that we're going to be wanting to be looking at over the next several hours. The RPM has not been handling this storm well at all. This had this snow band going well north of us yesterday, and it's keeping that trend this morning, and it's not really agreeing with any other of the data that I'm seeing out there. This is an outlier. I don't think snow totals will be this low across the area of Kentucky, but we will be watching this trend as we go throughout the next 24 hours. Here's a snow meter. This is a new feature that we debuted yesterday here on Wave 3 News. It stands at a 4, which means it's shovel time, certainly more than small talk, but not the big one out there. So, this is a storm that we'll remember for a little while, especially because of the cold temperatures behind it, not necessarily the snow in front of it. The snow in front of it's kind of a run-of-the-mill situation. All right, so you saw some of those colder temperatures filtering in just there on the GFS model here. I think we could get down to -7 degrees. You can't see that very well, can you? Let's switch our color, shall we, so that you can see that a lot better. All right. So, Tuesday morning, my low temperature, -7. As we go throughout your Monday morning, -3. And then 0 degrees for the high temperature as we go throughout your Monday. This is going to be almost a generational cold outbreak. This isn't going to be something like back in the 70s or even like 1994, but you have to go all the way back to 1996 to find temperatures this cold. So almost 2 decades will have passed since we've seen temperatures this cold. So this is going to be something that you'll want to make sure you're prepared for, because you want to make sure that your car batteries are ready to go. If you've got an old car battery and your car is outside, well, unfortunately, it might not make it through this event. You want to check your furnace, make sure those pets are inside, and those exposed pipes need to be covered up immediately in a preparation for this Arctic blast coming our way. Of course, Andy Weingarten will be in here tonight with the latest changes in the data and his thinking on this. We'll have that forecast for you going on. Of course, there's no 6 o'clock news, but if you're watching the football game, we'll be cutting in here during commercial breaks just to tell you a little bit about the weather forecast. And as we go throughout the evening, say 11:30 or so, we'll be back with Wave 3 News at 11. Give you Andy's latest forecast. Then, of course, me and Brian will be in tomorrow. We'll take you through this winter storm as it's happening. So keep it right here on Wave 3 News. We'll keep you informed as snow and cold come into Kentucky. For now, I'm meteorologist Ryan Hoke. Thanks for watching.